Good afternoon. Today is Friday, and this is the 24th of January, 24 days into the new year, 2020. And if you were looking for us last week, we apologize. Had so many things going on last Friday. We just could not do it all. But we are here today. And Marion is over here messing with her
Trying to
phone
turn it
and
off.
has no idea how to make it work. So she's beating it and hitting it. And the minute she going to throw it up against the wall. So, if you were looking for the technologically challenged Ask Welfare Rights
Maureen.
broadcast, you have found us. My name is Maureen Taylor. I work with Michigan Welfare Rights, and it's always a pleasure to be at our favorite radio station, WHPR, here in Highland Park. We're going to try to catch up on some news and bring up some information that may be pertinent to residents in Highland Park and kind of go over a couple of other things that Marion and I have looked at over the last few days. And so Marion is about to give an official welcome. So Marion, please say hello.
Hello, and again, we're happy to be here tonight. We've been so. Wait a minute, Maureen. We've been running all last 3 weeks. It's been raining all day long.
All day.
I want you to turn your TV to, if you can, get us on these different stations that we're on. But one thing, you can call in at 313-868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. And those of you that are looking at your computer, the website is www.tv33whpr.com. We got quite a few things to talk about. But first of all, we want to congratulate you for the award that you got the other night at the Martin Luther King
Celebration?
celebration. And the excellent speech that you gave was tremendous. I jumped up when you got to talking. I said, all right, now when she get through, it's time to go home.
Yep.
But the activity was great. And I really want to say thanks to not only you, but all the other people that showed up and wanted to stay a little longer, but it was getting
It was getting too late.
too late for some of us. But and I want to appreciate my organization, which Maureen is chairperson of, for giving me recognition for welfare rights. And it was just a great day, a real great day.
And let's just go into a little bit more detail so we can explain to people what they missed.
Oh, they missed a tremendous activity.
A Rainbow Push Coalition organized a Martin Luther King celebration Monday, January the 20th. And it started at 7 o'clock down at the Fox Theater, and a lot of people had never been to the Fox Theater, so we had a ton of folks from Welfare Rights. But right before that, we had a reception, and it was from 4:30 to 6. And what Marion did not know is that over the summer, we had, her kids had tried to organize a special birthday party for Marion. But we were, we weren't able to make it go forward because she was really struggling with this knee replacement and, in pain. So we weren't able to get that special birthday together. So I talked to folks, and we decided we were going to recognize Marion at the reception, but we were going to have that birthday party. And we did. And so Sylvia bought a great big old chocolate cake. Chocolate on the outside and vanilla inside, and the other end was marble. Great big old sheet cake. And Lord, we had a ton of food. So it was, Brianna was there, our member. And she's a vegan, so you had to have every known vegetable there was. So we had all the veggie trays and fruit trays,
Well, that's for the vegans.
the vegans, they were having a ball. and what was that? Some kind of floured cauliflower, something. I don't know what
Well,
that
that's
was.
cauliflower.
Floured cauliflower.
Yeah, you
I
can
don't
do
know
that.
what that was.
It
I
was
wasn't eating
good.
none of that. Meatballs, my favorite. All kinds of chicken, different kinds of things, and by the time it was over 100 people that showed up. We had a slight program, a small program, where there were some 90 folks, but an additional 20 showed up afterwards who were in there trying to catch up with a couple of those little morsels of food because everything was so good. And it was just an affair. And so we were able to present Marion Kramer with the Lifetime Social Justice Warrior Award. And it was
And it
wonderful.
was
So she was
beautiful.
surprised. She didn't expect that.
I sure didn't.
So that went pretty good. And then the other fun part, there's a couple of fun parts. It was a whole bunch of us, and we were holding on to each other as we were leaving the church and trying to struggle through that ice
Oh, that
and
ice.
go across the street to the Fox Theater. And I know we looked like a bunch of nuts because we were holding on, but the police were everywhere.
They stopped
You
that
know,
traffic.
they did, and I guess they, once before we had the police laughing at us when we were in the state building and couldn't get up that time. And I know this was a similar kind of
Yes, it was.
a humorous event. You holding on to each other, walking across that ice and getting into these places. So it was a marvelous event. Now, Mary, there were a couple of things that happened, and one I'm still not finished with, and that is Charles Simmons.
Oh, our buddy.
Charles,
brother.
our brother, Baba Charles Simmons, was one of the invited guests to the reception. And we were all part of, groups of
together.
us that were going across the street. And Charles has a back brace that he wears. And apparently, security wanted him to disrobe,
Yeah.
okay, take off his shirt and everything else, and he just wouldn't do that. He refused to do that, and that was a security breach as far as I'm concerned. I just haven't had a chance to deal with it yet, but I'm
You talking
certainly
about a
gonna,
security breach
with the Fox.
That's right.
They shouldn't have done that. He's an elder, and just should not have taken that kind of position. So we're going to get some
Oh yeah, we got to take some.
recompense
Yeah.
or something because that happened, but that was just wrong. And not going to give that up. By next week, when things calm down a little bit more, we're going to put our concerns in writing and get to the head of security because there's going to be an apology that's due. And, that was just outrageous.
Yeah.
But there were, groups and groups and groups of people. And for those folks, Marion, that didn't get there before we left, we left extra tickets with the Reggie at the parking lot
Oh
attendant,
yes.
and he gave them out. He gave them out as people were coming over there looking for things. So that went pretty good, and we're so proud of our national chairperson. So now we don't have to deal with that birthday cake anymore, and you got your award, so we can move on.
Let me add something to this. Something about my birthday. Maureen celebrates my birthday for the whole month.
That's right.
I don't care where we are. I said Maureen loves the party. Loves a
whole
party for the whole
Yeah, I
month.
think that's
But
awful.
I appreciate it because my birthday is June 16th, 1944. I was really shocked.
Got 15 days in front of that, 15
I
days after.
said,
The whole month. Whole month.
But thanks Welfair Rights and all the people that showed up to be able to be over at the Fox Theater. And let me say, Maureen really summarized what we needed to do. And not only that, they had a bunch of politicians up there. We've been listening to politicians all week long, all month long. And I know, given the capitalists, they are happy that we're doing that rather than really looking at and analyzing the real problem out here and what's going on. So, but Maureen summed it up. And people, she was the only one got a standing ovation, but it was a nice, real nice activity.
And I was the only girl that got an award. Did you notice that?
Sure was.
Yeah, everybody, the other three people were men. So I was the only female that was,
That's right.
picked
That
up,
is true.
the Let Freedom Ring Award. So, I was going to make certain that whatever welfare rights needed to put forward in terms of a speech, that we were going to leave there, folks were going to remember what we said, and I think
And
they
what
did.
we're all about.
I think they did. So now, Marion, we have to also say that there's some sad news. And, a lot of times we come here and we talk about our African American Museum, the Charles Wright Museum of African American History. And our beloved, our darling Charles Farrell, mom passed. And that's always a difficulty when mothers leave up out of here. So, Marion, I thought you might want to say a little something about Mrs. Farrell.
Yeah, that's my cousin. Uh, and it was a shocking thing. She's been sick for quite a while. But one thing about her, Maureen, when she came in, she had those hats on. She knew how to dress. Uh, and she spoke to everybody that was there, and saying, "How you doing, Maureen? How you doing? How's your son doing?" Her memory was tremendous.
Good.
Because as we would go to our family reunion, I look at her going through the crowd, and she remember all the family. She loved her family. She loved her church.
Good.
She always said, "So what's going on, Marion?
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me what's going on."
Yeah.
And she produced, as far as her children, they had one daughter who passed away prior to her, and now she's left. Her husband had left before her, and her other three sons are still around. One of my cousins, I don't know if he's still around or what, but it was a good family, So that's Charles. That was Charles' mother, and I know he and his wife was doing a good job on taking care of her. But we were all just shocked because it looked like she was doing pretty good, and then,
That's how that works.
And the funeral is, should you want to, know the information, is at Hope United Methodist Church in Southfield, right off the expressway. At 9 o'clock in the morning.
Them, yeah.
At 9 o'clock in the morning is the family hour, and then at 10 o'clock is the services.
All right, caller, you're our first caller of the evening. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights. You are on the air.
Oh, sorry for your loss.
Say that again. It's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry for your loss, Marion.
So she's sorry for your loss.
Oh, thanks very much. And I'll tell Charles that, we're condolencing and everything for this. Thank you very much.
I got you guys on the internet today. I can't get you on my Fire Stick, but hey, 1 out of 3 is good.
These days, 1 out of 3 is very good.
Yes. Did you see
I wanted
the interview?
you guys to let everybody know that Chrysler will be hiring again to make their way to the Michigan Detroit at Work and to get on the app to apply around April. So now is the time to start, getting the information through Detroit at Work.
Okay, we still got applications at my school. I sent them out to all of the parents already, and to some of the high school kids that graduated from high school but had not made their intentions known to a college. So it's good to hear that you say in April they're supposed to be starting another round of hiring.
Right, but they have to get the app and go through Detroit at Work.
Detroit at Work, yes.
Yeah, Detroit.
Yeah, and they could make sure they get over there and get the information, that at least get the app by March, so in April they can start applying.
Okay. All right, good information, caller. Okay.
Yeah, I met I know one of these homeless persons, one of my seniors. She ended up getting a part-time job, and she got the information through the soup kitchen.
Fabulous, fabulous. Good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. I see that Kamala Harris and Maxine Waters are releasing is it a $100 billion affordable house bill?
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the UAW.
Caller, had you heard that Joseph Biden has already had conversations with Kamala Harris about being his vice presidential candidate?
We heard that one,
I
didn't we?
did hear something like that. It sounds like he is looking towards her as a partner. Yeah,
Yeah,
in the
okay.
presidency. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. UAW, Jerry Goldberg, the United Auto Workers are working towards getting justice for jobs and not to allow the government or anybody to tear down those unions.
I like that.
That's really good to hear because
I like that.
there
to
is,
touch 'em.
you already can see it. There's a concerted effort by
Mhm.
the government to try to talk about, there's graft and problems in the UAW, and we might have to go there and take it over. And,
Right.
no, we're not standing for that,
Right.
so yeah.
Even one thing, the children. And when I say children, young folks have been talking about that. Say, why, mom? Why are they doing that? I say they trying to break the unions, and if they break the UAW, they done broke them all.
Yeah, they can go right down the line.
So we've got to take a stand around this, even if some of the people at the UAW is spineless. We're not.
Yeah, we got
We're
to support
not.
them, and we got to help them and move them in the right direction.
Look at this. Of all people, the Washington D.C. sent in the FBI over here, and they got all this nonsense going on in D.C. and around the country. But they're gonna mess with the unions, and but they're not gonna arrest the president.
Yeah. He
Well,
on
that's because
he
your
on the do not
president,
disturb list.
that's because your president works for the capitalists. To
Yeah,
make sure
he's
that
a
they get
capitalist.
anything
Yeah.
and everything
He
that
is
they
one.
want.
Uh-huh.
And what they want is to allow their greed to cause more man-made poverty.
You telling it like it
Like
is, Carla.
Uh-huh.
Now, there's a free healthcare training, Volunteers of America. It's at the New Center Building, Suite 465. That's 3031 Grand Boulevard.
Grand Boulevard, right there off of the Grand Boulevard and Second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they have a opportunity for people that want to come in and get into medical field, technician jobs, and medical assistance jobs. And the Civil Rights Coalition is calling on the government to end the Detroit water shutoff crisis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we got that notice, and we were all in that one. All right. Well, Carla, you've given us a lot of great information today.
Okay.
If there
All
are
right,
other
I'll
things
continue
that
to
you
listen.
think of, please call back, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Good night.
All right, caller, you on the air. You've been so patient. Thank you for waiting, and thank you for calling Ask Welfare Rights.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies. I wanted to know if you or anybody else can help me. I'm 56, disabled. I get a fixed income. Someone stole my vehicle from in front of my house and parked under the street light, porch light on, everything. But it was recovered. But they're trying to charge me now $150. The vehicle is destroyed. But now they want to charge me to get rid of it.
When you
It's
say
in the
they, who
impact,
are you talking
but-
about?
What do you mean? Somebody's charging you to get rid of
The
it?
impound. It's nothing like they destroyed it.
Oh, it's at the impound now.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, call us on Monday, 313-964-0618, so we can have a conversation offline about that.
Okay.
Okay, and leave, if nobody's there to answer the phone, leave your name and leave your phone number 2 times. So we'll
Okay.
call you back, okay?
And even
Okay.
if they
Thank you.
answer, be
All right.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
if should they answer, please leave the information, and they will give it to us.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, Marion, this organization called Wallet Hub, HUB. Wallet Hub is one of these online surveying groups,
I saw that.
and they pulled a report together. And it says, with 2019 behind us, it's time to think about fresh starts. And whether that means small changes or little or big changes that overhaul people's lives. And for many people, finding a new job or a better job is a destination. All right, then it goes on to say college graduates, especially, will see a strong boost in their job prospects. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. They always say that. And that's according to the National Association of Colleges and Employers. All right, your luck in.
1 second on that.
Mm-hmm.
They always saying that, but when those college students come out, they got so many all those all the money that they have
Student
to
loans.
student loans they got to pay back until it becomes I mean it's a hustle by by the United States government in the sense that you would let something like that happen. And we know national welfare rights, our position is education should be free from
It should
death,
be.
I mean from birth to death.
Should be. All right, and this says your luck. Now, this is an article that came out last week.
Uh-huh.
Your luck in finding work depends largely on location. Now, that I believe. I believe that.
We knew
You know,
that.
that I believe.
Tell us more
All right,
about.
to help you with the job hunt, Wallet Hub, HUB, compared more than 180 United States cities across 31 key indicators. Now, actually, what they did is they did the research at 182 cities. So they went to New York,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Detroit, wherever else. 182 surveys. I'm going to say it again, 182 surveys. I'm going to say it one more time. 182 surveys. Now, the best city to live in to find a job, where apparently there's a lot of high tech and other kinds of activities going on there, low overhead in terms of utilities, it makes sense to me. Scottsdale, Arizona. They don't have to pay for heat. Okay, so it's a fairly affordable living standards there, and they were ranked number one.
One.
Now, right next to them, I would have guessed this, South Burlington, Vermont. So we got high tech, and we got all the techno companies up there in the Vermont community and whatnot, and a lot of small communities, and they are able to hire people on a much faster basis. Now, the one that really surprised me, number 3, was San Francisco. Say it's easier to get a job in San Francisco these days, and I thought about it. Well, I guess it is. They're opening up all kinds of high tech and mobilizing places and military bases in and around that. So that's the top 3. All right, so 1, 2, and 3, and we're going down to 182. Who you think is 182?
Detroit.
Detroit. Detroit, Michigan came in
The surrounding
at
area.
182. In other words, of all of the first 182 cities that they went to find difficulties in employment, we came in as some of the most difficult. Now, the reason I thought that was important, Marion, is because I keep hearing mostly Republicans, and then I pay attention, Republicans and, excuse me, Lord, dumbass Democrats saying the same thing.
They've been saying that
With
for how many
the
years?
economy, I'm talking about now.
They've
With
been
the
saying it.
economy in such good shape, and with people being able to look at the stock market, and it is just growing by leaps and bounds. The unemployment rate in Michigan is the lowest that has been since the 60s. And I keep thinking, the unemployment, Marion, the unemployment figures only measure those people that are actively receiving unemployment
And you don't see,
benefits.
and you do not see a whole lot of unemployment lines like they used to be, because you have to register over the phone to what's the name of the
No, you ain't got to register over the phone.
once you get your stuff saying that you
You got to go. I'm gonna pick you up on a Saturday and take you over to the Boulevard and Second to that state building. And at 12 o'clock is when they close. So people start lining up at 8:30 in the
8:30,
morning.
I know.
And they all around the block. But what you have to do is you have to go there first, and then after that you can call. So it just doesn't look like it's lots and lots and lots of people.
You and I went
You
through
know?
that, and it's so different
Oh, my
than the
God.
time when we were on unemployment.
So different. So when I look at that and I think about the fact that unemployment only measures those people that are actively receiving
That's all.
unemployment benefits.
That's all.
And I can remember that there was a time that you could receive, and Carla, we coming right to you. You could receive unemployment benefits for 52 weeks. You remember that?
Yeah, they had the
You know?
fun and extension,
You know?
extensions that they constantly remember.
52 weeks.
We had several weeks
You know?
that we went past that 52 weeks.
And then you had an extension, and then maybe you got another exemption.
well, that doesn't exist right now.
6 to 8 weeks now. 6 to 8 weeks. That's it. Carla, you've been patient. You're on the air.
Happy Friday to both of you.
And happy Friday
Friday
to you, Miss Theo. Do you remember when you used to be able
Yes,
to
I do.
claim unemployment benefits for 52 weeks?
I do.
See?
And little by little,
They took it
the
away.
rug is being pulled out from under the residents, and a pedestal is being built for the corporations.
Every
That's
day.
right. That's right.
And we hear about this water shut-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that they're going to gear up again and start in April. And there's some 27,000 they want to start with.
Well, there's you may have already heard about the latest court filing that went in to the regional courts about 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where not only was a court case filed demanding a moratorium on shutoffs, but there's a contingent of some of our attorneys went to Lansing, and they are insisting that the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, get involved in these shutoffs, and that she put her shutoffs on water, and that she get involved in requesting this moratorium. So go ahead, Ms. Theo.
Not only
well,
that, it is
I'm
also the water affordability plan also that it be implemented,
Right.
and we all have to demand that.
Yes.
Because they're going to keep going up on us.
Right. And I
So-
understand that the only thing she's concerned about is a 45-cent tax being added for the gasoline. That seems to be the only thing she wants to concentrate on.
Well-
and she will say that, okay, I'll help you with water shutoff while you help me with a gas tax, but she is not sincere, I'm being told, in what she's saying.
When politicians get into office, then the rubber meets the road in terms of what it is that they're willing to do and what it is that they're able to do.
And you can forget all that promise they claimed in the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
the
But
other day,
also, I want to say that Agnes did a good job of sharing the information on the article that was written by Christine in the Detroit News as relates to the assessment, property assessment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and people have overpaid on their taxes because
yes.
the property was overassessed.
City taxes, that's right.
Yes, city property tax. Yes.
And people are supposed to be going down to the Sweet Georgia Brown building. That's what I still call it. Going downtown to ask in the tax department, let me see the taxes that were charged on my property. And if I'm not mistaken, is it 2010 to 2016?
Yeah, well, right. And it may be more than that, but that's what we know about so far.
Okay. And that's a good thing. People should go there. I don't know if you could do that on the phone. I wouldn't trust it, but I'd go down there.
I'd go straight down there.
Face to face and take a look at that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And take pen and paper.
Take pen and
write
paper.
it down. Don't just trust yourself to remember the figures they show.
If you can't do that, use your phone and take a picture.
Hey,
Good
that's a
idea. Good idea.
But what about this, the two of you listening to this? The other day, I'm just sitting up trying to think back. Somebody started me, my grandson had started me on it. Thinking back, some of the things we used to do.
Yeah.
And that is, I'm just thinking back, some of the things when I know Welfare Rights, we used to go and take over the welfare office if that welfare office wasn't treating people right. The other thing, and look, they had hell getting us out of that office.
You don't need to do that anymore.
Wait a minute,
You go to
baby.
the welfare
They did that
office
away
now,
from
there's
this.
3 people in there.
Let me finish. We're going to have to sit down and start getting start thinking about
New strategies.
new strategy around this. And when we go to stay or what have you. If necessary, we need to be knocking on some of these 2-bit people always talking about they gonna what all they gonna do for us once they elected.
Politicians.
These damn politicians that get in there don't even after they get in there we don't even exist
Anymore, yeah.
And and let the darn Republicans understand. Don't be afraid of them. Go knock on their doors and
That's
say
right.
you don't live too far from us. You know, because and you need to know what the real world looks like. We need to march in their communities, everything, you know.
Right.
They don't need to be living comfortably at our expense.
That she was here today.
Who?
Still, same thing, pressing for her 45-cent tax.
Oh, the governor.
And
Yeah,
she don't know what the real world is.
Miss Theo, I have a job for you.
What's that?
I have a knowledge of a man, I think he's 67, 68 years of age. He's vision impaired and hearing impaired.
Okay.
And for the last 30 years, he has lived in the same senior apartment building because he's disabled.
Okay.
His place is a mess because the different chore services providers that he's had, you know, he's difficult, so they might come in. They're supposed to be there every other day to help clean up and wash the dishes and whatnot. And he's difficult to deal with, so maybe they come once a week. And this is a federally subsidized building, so you know it's got to have some standards, right?
What?
So what happened was a year ago, who was it? A year ago, the welfare department did a welfare check.
Okay.
And to find out what was going on with him, they sent him some papers and he didn't send them back a year ago.
Okay.
And come to find out, he was leaving his apartment. He had left his apartment to go to the store to get whatever and was assaulted by 2 young African Americans. And they really hurt the man, beat him till he was unconscious. Stole his little money, kicked him in the head, all this kind of stuff. He was in a coma for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Then he came out of the coma and, you know, took another 2 or 3 weeks before he could come back to himself. And however it happened, Miss Theo, they took this man who'd been living independently for almost 30 years, and they took him to a facility that does not deal with vision impaired or hearing impaired persons. And they took him and set him at a table. He can't see TV. He can't hear. And that's where they put him and left him there.
Oh,
Now,
my goodness.
it took a while. Somebody had to figure out where he was. Somebody did. It ended up over at the Greater Detroit Agency for the Blind. He had been
Right.
receiving services there.
Mm.
They got involved. Now, dig this, Miss Theo.
Mm-hmm.
They were told that this man needed a guardian ad litem because he could not take care of himself, and that even though he did not want to stay at this assisted living facility where they plunked him down,
Mm-hmm.
they had already changed over his SSI,
What?
all of his money, and put it in the hands of this facility.
Oh, yeah.
And that he's being kept there against his will,
He's in
and
prison
there's nothing anybody can do about it.
because all they
Oh,
want
my
is that
Now, I
check.
wanted to tell the story loud so that everybody can hear it, but I'm going to call you offline over the next couple of days
Okay.
and put you on this because, see, you can't hold a person who's vision and hearing impaired at a facility and let them sit on the couch all day for 8 or 9 hours.
Oh,
It's just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to mention that I'm going to put you on the
Okay.
spot. That's why I'm telling the story out loud. Everybody heard
Okay.
me here.
All right.
All right, Miss Theo, I'm going to call you offline in a day or two, okay?
Okay.
And
All
thank
right.
you,
Looking
ma'am.
forward to your call.
All righty. Thank you so
for
much.
calling.
You're welcome.
All right,
Bye
now.
now.
Yeah, Marion, they got him, put him on the couch, put him in the chair, and he can't talk. And there's nobody that can do sign language or, I've forgotten what you call the other one where you have to do the signs in the hands.
In the hand.
But nobody at the facility that can do that. They didn't even give the man a pen and paper so he could write something down. And if it wasn't for Sylvia and some of the folks over there, Eugenia and them, that found where the guy was, they've been to see him a couple of times, we wouldn't know where he is.
Welfare rights again.
You know, we would not know where he is. But I didn't think you could do that. And I know that part of the reason this is happening
They say trying to
is,
throw him away.
well, this is about money.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, you know, he gets more than $773
And
a
that's
month on
why they're
SSI.
going after him.
And so they have transferred his money and all of his bank accounts over to the facility. Oh, my God, you can't do that. But I believe that the
can't.
reason this is happening is because the advocacy that is needed to talk about this man is being kept somewhere against his will. If a probate judge gets that kind of message, within 2-3 days, the probate judge is going to demand an immediate
If you get a
trial. You know, but I'm talking about they're going to want to have an immediate trial. Right now, the guardian ad litem says that he's in the best place possible
Oh, please.
for his safety as the guardian ad litem continues
Yeah,
to
he's
get paid.
that's what I was about to say. You took it here.
You know?
I want to say to the disabled community, and particularly the organized sector.
Marguerite, she's talking to you.
All right, let's get to moving, and you know how Marguerite and them are. Let's get to moving, and yeah, because we all under attack, and you know all you have to do is call on us too.
Warriors on Wheels. Caller, you've been very patient. Thank you for waiting and thank you for calling us. Welfare Rights, you're on the air.
Hello.
Caller, you're on the air.
Turn your TV down.
Caller, you're on the air. Okay.
Go to the
So,
next one.
Marion, that's really good too, because folks think that because you're vision impaired or hearing impaired, that you get special treatment, and you do. You get special treatment to make certain they're kicking you in the butt more often than anybody else. I mean, it's just ridiculous the way folks. Victor told me a couple of times, and I know I've seen it, Marion. Blind and vision impaired people get cut off of welfare, cut off of food stamps, cut off of Medicaid. Why, Marion? Because they didn't fill out a form.
Come on now.
They're vision impaired.
Yeah, that's but yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. I remember a case I had. You remember this case, Marion? That was 20 years ago. 30 years ago, when I first started to learn about HIV and AIDS. And this young man had a T cell count of
Oh, I
less
remember
than
that.
20.
Yeah.
And I had to research, well, what does that mean? And once your T cell count goes down to a certain level, you're
That's
no
your
longer
T cell.
HIV. You have full blown AIDS. Is that what you said?
No, I said, tell them what the T cell is.
Oh, the T cell is I've forgotten what the name T is, but it's the red corpuscles in your body. And the HIV virus destroys the red corpuscles. And what you have left there are the white ones, and you can't fight off any kind of
Similar to
infections or anything like
leukemia.
that. Yeah. So this guy's T cell count was like 20, 21, 22. It kept going up and down, up and down. And they cut him off of welfare. So yeah, I wrote the hearing a long time ago. Still trying to learn what this is about. And what I was told, I can still remember that the reason that they cut his food stamps, I think it was food stamps and Medicaid for sure. The reason why they terminated his case is because his T cell count went from 20 to 21, and that must mean he was improving. And I was
That
stunned.
was if that is idiot.
Improving.
For somebody like that working with people, Maureen.
There's no improvement
That's
with
criminal.
HIV and AIDS. Now you can stabilize it, and maybe today you can probably take some of those different HIV AIDS cocktails and get your blood cell count to such a degree where you can't even detect it anymore. But 30 years ago we weren't there. So when I went to the hearing, and the worker just as
She just
clear,
knew she was
she
right.
knew she was gonna win.
Yeah.
When the person's T cell count started to go up, so that means they were getting better. Let's look at the judge. Had my little package of information, handed it to the judge, and he says Miss Taylor has given us some information to indicate that there's no reverse in this situation, and the hearing is now canceled. And I'll give you an opinion soon. It's ridiculous. Caller, you've been so patient. Thank you for waiting and thank you for calling. Ask Welfare Rights. You're on the air.
I'm not surprised to hear the abuse that's going on with the disability. United Snakes spend about $32 million per hour on war since 2001. And so now you have this draconian president that wants to attack your disability, Social Security, and your medical.
Yeah, you see, he came out with that last week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, his attitude is like, you can't touch me.
Yeah.
And in so many ways, they kind of have convinced most of us that he must be untouchable because it's just so.
He keeps doing what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so dogmatic, and all the crimes against humanity. And your Supreme Court, they're no better because to me they're guardians of hate, racial, and greed.
Well, caller, we got a circumstance now, and some things you just can't make this stuff up.
No.
And now it's okay for the president to call another nation and say, I need you to help me win the election. And the guy the guy that is the strongest candidate in the opposition camp, I want you to create some problems and create the myth of something going wrong so that his notoriety can go down and mine can go up. And that will ensure that I can win the election. And we got folks that are saying, well, that's that happens all the time. Probably does. But it's not a problem.
That make sure those people that you just talked to about that they don't come around us.
Go ahead, caller.
Also, they're saying that Bernie has got a wide lead over Trump, so he'll probably be attacking him any day now and using foreign people to help him in that area as well. CENA's Helping Hands training program. It's on 430 Mack Avenue. And that phone number is 355 3258. Those who want to be a CENA, is that certified nursing or something?
I think
But it's
that's the certified
yeah,
nursing
Nursing.
associate. Yeah,
yeah.
something in
So
that
they're
medical
on
field. So what's the
430
address
Mac
again?
Avenue.
What is it? 432?
They're at 430 Mac Avenue,
430. Okay.
Could you
and
send
the
all
phone
those?
number is
Tell her to
313
send all that to that so they can have it.
355
So they can call.
3258.
Caller Marion is asking if you get a chance, if you call the Welfare Rights Hotline, 313-964
Because we should get.
0618.
0618.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
answered.
and call and just leave those numbers and that information on the line.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you get
because
a
we need
chance
to get our
between,
people productive in the medical field. You
yeah,
usually might be better off getting a job,
yeah.
helping people and learning some things yourself in the health areas. Thank you.
That'll be very
Thank
helpful.
you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Okay.
All right.
So, Marion, now we got the impeachment. So I remember when Clinton was impeached because he had an affair with one of his aides,
Monica Lewinsky.
and he lied to the FBI, and they said that rose to the level of impeachment. And now we got a person that called another nation and said, I need you to investigate my rival. But that does not rise to the level of impeachment. And the other charge is obstruction of Congress. So Congress asked, I need a subpoena for Bolton. I need a subpoena for McConnell. I need a subpoena for whoever these other people are. And the president called those folks and said, I want you to ignore a subpoena. I always was told once you get subpoena, you got to show up, or the marshals will come and get you. But we got a president that told these people ignore that, and that's a obstruction of
I think
Congress, and it looks like that's okay.
look like, as far as I'm concerned, look like they should have sent a subpoena for all the people being the Republicans that have not come forward, to speak when they want them, and they knew, they all know. And one thing I noticed yesterday, and I was really appreciative of it, the news, the morning news, interviewed those three women that they were good lawyers,
Yeah, yeah.
and they
You
showed
want the ones that testified?
no, the lawyers that were talking about the cases. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That was on one of those shows, and they showed. Look at this picture. What's the difference in this picture and this picture? Well, one picture was all white men in the past, still is. And the picture that they were on was only three women. And one of the women, the elder, the one that's older than the other two, one of them was her husband. And she came right on out and told folks, this is, all of them were saying this is terrible.
And it is.
It is. All these years,
It's just something to see, isn't it?
it's terrible, Maureen. I
You know?
want to back up on something on what's the name of the organization that Victor is over?
A Greater Detroit Agency.
Agents for the Blind. If you ever have an opportunity and you in the area of
Yes.
Grand River, close to
Just east of
Southfield,
Southfield. Yeah.
you need to go in there and see the wonderful work that since Victor has been. I mean, we're talking about Victor Abalou been there. How people are welcome over there, and how the folks that might have a disability as far as blindness, and hearing and what, and their families, how they participate in the activities that they have over there, and if you can, you need to find out what kind of volunteer you can do, or if not, send some money. You know,
that always helps. I was just thinking, every time I think that I've seen and heard it all, And I can hear Ruth telling me in my
Oh,
ears,
yeah.
just keep living.
That's right.
And it's going to be some more stuff. But this case with this young man, I'm calling him a young man, he's past 65 now. And they got him sitting in a chair, sitting at the desk, can't hear, can't see, and nobody's there to advocate on his behalf. And really what we should
And
be
that's a
doing,
job, you
oh,
know.
it is,
A paying job for
and
someone.
really what we should be doing is to get a hold of Warriors on
On
Wheels,
wheels.
Quentin, Marguerite, the
All of them.
whole disability
It's
community that's
time to go
very
back out.
organized. We might have to work with them, Marion, and get some transportation and get 30 or 40 folks over there to this building where they're
That's right.
holding this man
That's a,
and go in there and ask what the
they
hell is
got
going
him in
on here.
prison, Maureen.
He's in prison. He don't know where he is and what to do. It's just a mess. I ain't never
And-
think I would see anything like that. That's how me being naive again. I'm just stunned when this kind of thing happens. They took the man's money.
Slowly.
They took his account. They took his benefits, had him put an X someplace, and took his money over to that facility.
Not only that,
Marion.
put him like a dump chair. You sit over there. I mean, that's that, Maureen. What? And they tell you, you know, look, watch out. You know, you soon will be a senior. God forbid if we do, and this is what we got to go through.
And see, at the end of the day, Mary, this becomes our fault. You know, people talk about this all the time. Our lack of activism, our lack of organizing, our lack of getting involved. And nobody asks folks to do all the things that Welfare Rights is able to do. But everybody is supposed to be doing something. Something. You know?
Well,
and it's just getting worse. But here's a disabled guy.
we'll let you know.
And we're going to do something about it.
Because
but
we're going to move on this. This is
yeah.
and if today it's the disabled community, tomorrow it might be you.
Well,
So you know it's time to move. It's time
do
to. I mean,
something.
stop sitting at home, looking at the TV all the time.
well, even if you're looking at TV, look at something that might help you. And help make you aware, keep you aware
Please.
of some things happening. We've had a call today that gave us some information about some potential jobs. Tomorrow is the start today,
Right.
the 24th, 25th, and 26th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're doing training for census workers, Mary,
Yeah.
down at our church. So that's going on, and my guess is that census workers are being trained all over the city. Now, did you ever work for the census?
At one time,
All right,
forgot
I
what
worked for
I
the
did.
Census Department. Remember when Vince Coots was over it?
Yeah.
Over there at Detroit NFI.
That's right.
And I worked for the Census Department for a couple of years,
We,
you know?
the whole office was.
You know,
working
I
on
think we were, you know, because whatever, that must have been, I can't remember now, maybe 2005. And then that year, the year before, then the year after, because they do that interim stuff. And we were able to get involved with that. And that's when we had Morris. And some of those folks did a census over on the east side when we were trying to figure out some of the problems that were happening in certain zip codes. And boy, that Morris went and did every house for about 10 blocks square, 10 square miles.
I hope you're
almost,
listening
man.
to this, Morris,
You
because
know?
we need you back out here too.
Well, see, we are at that point now, Marion. Where are we? We are down to 2 minutes. We're at that point now. The country's in a constitutional crisis. This is a mess. So there's no telling what's going to happen, but it looks like these Republicans have decided that it's more important for them, or at least not as scary, for them to be Trump supporters, because if they go against him, he's going to fund their opposition and they're going to lose their jobs. And clearly, that's what their goal is to stay elected. So, Marion, you got about 30 seconds to say goodbye.
They probably around here talking about how Hitler Trump now. But look in the mirror and look at the reflection, Maureen. You are a reflection of the working class. And we in war now, and people refuse to understand that. You're going to open up, you're going to look one day, and you're going to be mad because your Social Security is cut.
Or cut off.
Cut off. You're not getting your food stamps. You're not getting your look and say, we can't pay y'all today, but we'll pay you next week.
Wimpy, I'm glad you got pay you today for next week for a hamburger for the day.
Yes, right.
All right, Mary, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Good night. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a week. And hope you call our office and say, I'm coming.
Good enough. I won't be able to sit with Charles tomorrow, but all of Welfare Rights, we're in sorrow because of the loss of Charles's mama. And at Hope Memorial Methodist Church tomorrow, like Mary had said, 9 o'clock, family hour, 10 o'clock, homegoing services. So, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. We will be back next Friday. And we got some announcements to make over the next couple of weeks about some training programs we're going to invite you to. All right, we're going to wave and say goodbye.